All right, y'all, back to War Boy. Definitely not the bull trap we talked about in last night's video. That's all right, you can't win them all, can you? Now, more importantly, did you see that record-breaking durable goods orders, 8:30 this morning? Boy, lots of manufacturing coming back to the US right now. I definitely underestimated the potency of that report. Lesson learned, I will not make that mistake next time. Now, looking forward to tomorrow, we have a monster move going higher right now and a couple range breakouts. Put those two clues together, big move, range breakouts. That tells me breakout pullbacks are probably where the money is made tomorrow morning. So a pretty easy game plan for Friday morning. I want to make sure we cover the entries, the exits. By the time we're done tonight, you'll have an easy roadmap, an easy game plan to make some money on Friday morning as well. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. It's been a fantastic week to be trading this week here. Let's finish strong for a Friday morning. Charts look pretty darn good tonight. S&P SPY is ready to go tonight. NASDAQ, triple Qs are all ready. I have five clues on these charts in front of us that are telling me where I think the winning trades are waiting for tomorrow. One of those 5 clues is right here on the hourly time frame. Well, that range that has treated us so well over the past few weeks, it looks like that range is now starting to break down here. Nothing lasts forever. We've done very well off that range on the higher time frame. Now, one big clue for tomorrow is the buyers obviously have all of the momentum right now. I like to use this hourly chart as an overall directional filter, right? So one big clue is the bulls have control on the higher time frame. Second clue is over on the schedule for tomorrow. We're all through the big earnings for the week, but we got some big news tomorrow. That consumer sentiment number at 10 o'clock Eastern time, that is our big news tomorrow morning. Specifically, the inflation expectations aspect of that survey tomorrow morning. Don't underestimate that Green Star news event. The last few months, that's been a big market mover. So second clue tomorrow is expect some volatility around that 10 o'clock Eastern time number. And as always, of course, we know the markets are obsessed right now with tariff headlines. We'll keep an eye on that tomorrow morning as well. Let's now go deeper though. First clue was the bullish overall bias. Second clue was the news at 10 o'clock. The third, fourth, and fifth clues right now are all over on the tick charts. Remember, we don't trade time charts in our trade room. We always trade tick charts. Tick charts are based on volume. They make the patterns easier to see. All the time frames, by the way, if you're watching for the first time right now, upper left-hand corner. And that, my friends, is the only indicator we need to find lots of winning trades each week. That is the 21 EMA. I have 3 more clues on these tick charts right now. One clue is this monster move going higher. Again, definitely not the bull trap we talked about last night, but a big move higher here today. Now, why is it important? Well, because big move higher, I don't want to buy high up here. I want to buy nice and low. And usually a big move like this tells me to look for a 2-legged pullback and a retest of the high. 2-legged pullback and a retest of the high. The second clue here is that beautiful pop and grind channel. Pop up, grind. Now, we talk about this a lot on these videos, but in case you're watching for the first time right now, anytime we see a market grind in one direction, it's like a steamroller for momentum. Most importantly, I can draw a trend line off those highs, pin that trend line down around those lows. And boy, if we can get that 2-legged pullback around that area, that would be a fantastic area to buy the dip for tomorrow. But the final clue tonight might be my favorite clue out of all of them. We got multiple ranges right now. There's a range right there. There's a range right here. Now, why would that be important? Well, because anytime we see a range breakout, we know that breakout pullbacks are definitely on our radar. In fact, I would speculate that breakout pullbacks might be the most consistent thing I know about trading overall. Now, you'll notice, right, that there's 2 of them here, one right here and one right there. This is important because one of them has me buying relatively high. The other is a nice deep pullback. So tonight, we'll talk about how I'm going to use different entry tactics depending on which one of these breakout pullback zones that we use. In fact, in all reality, when I see a really big move higher like this, when I see it grind up like that, there are really 2 basic types of strategies I always look for the following day. The first one is kind of the easiest. We'll cover that here first on the S&P and SPY. But the second one, it's a little more complicated, but when you see me explain it later on in the video, I think you'll see why I like the second one even better. So we'll cover that a bit later on the NASDAQ. Now, hopefully by now you can see though, on the first type of strategy for tomorrow, I would love to get a nice deep two-legged pullback. Think about a measured move, A, B, C, D. Get down into that nice deep breakout pullback zone, the low of that channel. Now, as we always say in these videos, I'm not in the business of just blindly buying down here or picking tops and bottoms. What I'll do on this is look for two types of entry patterns. This is where the 21 EMA comes in handy. As we start pulling back right now, remember, all that momentum, all that grinding momentum is going to want to retest the high here. I would love to get a bear trap down here. Bears try once, higher high, bears try twice. Why? Because now I know where their stops are. As my first mentor always said, now you know where their pain is. If you're caught short in a move like this, what happens when you get stopped out? You buy your way out. These oftentimes will squeeze and rip right back up to retest high. So a simple 2-try bear trap is my first try to buy that deep pullback. Now, we know where the market wants to go now. It wants to go back up and retest that high. So now we start looking for the second trade in this first sequence, and that's an add-on trade. Add-on trades are very simple. First things first, separation off the moving average. Second, higher high in price. If you get some separation off the moving average and a higher high in price, the goal is to go back up to retest the high. That's a great way to add to your winning position. So one way I'll trade this first strategy for tomorrow is two-legged pullback, bear trap, squeeze those stops, and if we're lucky, we'll get an add-on there as we go back up to retest that high. Now, one question for you. What if we don't get that bear trap down there? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw a really sharp two-legged pullback and there are so many buyers down here, it just whoop and runs right back up again. We may not get a bear trap down there. These can be a bit challenging because you're going to feel like you're missing the entry. But what happens oftentimes is once it V bottoms off that low, I can find a new one of those pop and grind channels off the highs, bring it down off that low. And remember, the first test of this channel is always the best test. Find those prior swings, and that first test is the best test, is always my favorite off the low. I could use any of the entry patterns I teach in our free trading classes to buy off the low of that channel. And really, we have a bunch of tariff talk going on right now. Would anyone be surprised if we saw a really sharp two-legged pullback? Trump says something, China says something, right? Something happens, a sharp two-legged pullback. We get that beautiful bear trap down here. 1, 2, nice, easy, short squeeze back higher. But now, if that pullback is really sharp, remember, anytime we see a strong move down like that, what will happen is sometimes the bears will come in, they'll hold the underbelly of that first leg. I go for a 1-to-1 on the first target. Second target, though, is always nice around the underbelly of that move in case you're trading this on your own tomorrow morning. But every once in a while, though, it'll come back and whack that sucker right back down again. Now, remember, we're very bullish right now on the higher time frame, right? So this will not be a reversal. If we retest this low, I would love to do this again. 1 try, 2 try. We call these retest trades in our trade room. It's always that bear trap and then getting in on that add-on as we go higher. So don't be surprised if something happens tomorrow. We see a really sharp move down. We get the initial bear trap. But again, watch the underbelly of that first leg. If it rolls over this again, do it again, because these retest trades are oftentimes our biggest winners and get target is course back up to retest the high. So some variations there of this nice deep pullback for us. Now, here's a question for you. How do we adjust our strategy for the shallow pullback right now? I want to talk about that in just a moment. Before we do that though, let's slow down for a couple seconds though, because I know most of you guys and gals watching right now, you know these patterns already. You're making money with these already. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy for you. Don't you worry though, I teach this entire system in my free trading class. In fact, I have a ton of examples, bear traps, add-ons, breakout pullbacks. Guys, I want to help you make money timing the entries on this. What I'll do is I'll put a link up top here for you upper right-hand corner, hit that link that just popped up there and take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a surprisingly simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells us exactly where the winning trades are waiting for us each day. More importantly, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, make a lot more money. Guys, the markets, they're so good right now not to be making consistent profits. So if you're still missing the best entries right now, if you've lost your confidence in your current trading strategy, what are you waiting for? Hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course. Everyone loves all the trade examples I include. I have a ton of examples of traps and add-ons in that short video series. The best part is it is 110% free for you. Also, too, keep in mind, too, guys, I'm going to put all the important links you need to learn this strategy, time better entries, start making money out there on your own. You know, guys, most folks, they start making money on their own all from that free video class. So I'll drop all the important links tonight below this video down in the description. Start first on that free video course. And also keep in mind too, if you're on Twitter or X as the kids call it these days, I post a ton of charts and videos and mindset stuff throughout the day on Twitter X. Give me a follow. Again, all the details you need to learn more, hopefully earn a lot more too, are linked below in the video here in the description. Okay, so now you know where to go tonight to learn the entry tactics. I can't teach everything in these videos, and I teach a lot more of this in that free video course. Okay, so where we leave off here, we talked about that nice, deep, two-legged pullback, that breakout pullback zone. But hold on though. How do we trade a shallow pullback right now? Shallow pullbacks, the challenge is we are buying relatively high. And don't forget, this is just the first of 2 strategies for tomorrow. I'm going to kick this up one more notch into a more advanced tactic for tomorrow on the NASDAQ. And again, when you see me talking through it, I think you'll see why I almost hope we get the second strategy setting up for tomorrow. We're going to cover that on the NASDAQ. So sit tight, and we'll be there here in just a moment. What's the problem right now? What is the problem if we get a shallow pullback? It's, again, we're buying relatively high right now. I don't think anybody will be surprised, though. Some good headlines. We heard from South Korea a few hours ago. They're ready to sign a deal at the White House right now. The good times may keep going at the White House right now. So I want to have a game plan ready for a shallow pullback. Now, if you're a student of mine, you know what I'm going to say right now. Or if you've gone through my free video classes, you probably know the right way to do this, right? Now, whenever we see a shallow pullback, I need to focus on risk-reward ratio, okay? This will make sense. If I look for a typical bear trap pattern, 1 and 2, and I'm buying right here, my risk is like this and my reward is like that. No bueno, right? We cannot build a career on that. If I buy a deep pullback, and I hope this makes sense, this is very important, understanding how to filter for risk-reward ratio is the next evolution in most people's trading career. If we a deeper pullback now, 1, 2, I can risk small to make a lot, right? That's a trade everybody wants. That's a trade I can build my career off. Okay, so we know the inherent problem. The workaround on this is we look for what's called a technical bear trap. Okay, there are bear traps, and a term I use, a technical bear trap. A technical bear trap, when I get that shallow pullback now, it's still 1, 2, it's 1 and 2, but now I want to get in underneath that prior low. The way this plays out now is I get that strong signal candle like I teach in the free video course. Now, think about this now. Now my risk is here. My reward now is here. The risk reward ratio now, by making that small adjustment, I'm not buying up here now, I'm buying down here. Again, a deep pullback, I can be a lot more aggressive because I can risk small to earn large. A shallow pullback, the most important thing about shallow pullbacks is I do not want to buy high up there because, again, it's not attractive to the big professional traders out there. I want to get in underneath that low. And again, I teach the entries on this in the free video course. Strong green candle, back above the moving average. I want to be in the green on this trade by the time we take out that high right there. 1-to-1 first target. Stop moves up to point of entry, and of course we take our targets off at that high, like always. All right, guys, that's one variation of that on that shallow pullback. Does that make sense? Let me know if that's something you've ever learned before, how to filter for risk-reward ratio. Let me know down in the comment section. I would love to hear from you and get your feedback on that technique. Let's now talk about that second scenario for tomorrow over on the NASDAQ. That's just one way to trade this for tomorrow. Over the NASDAQ right now, and again, boy, that trading range that did us so well the last few weeks here. If you guys have watched these videos, you know we've been watching that range here. Now it looks like this range, nothing lasts forever, right? So now these buyers are obviously kicking this thing into high gear right now. But before we dive into the tick charts though, if you're enjoying this video right now, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button and make sure you subscribe. I know we're all busy people these days, and I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching my videos. So thank you so much for the likes, the shares, all the subscribes, and all the ongoing support down in the comment section. Now, let's talk about tick charts here and talk about that second key component here over on the NASDAQ. Boy, what a move on that NASDAQ. And by the way, you can probably notice here too, right? That range, remember, we talk about this a lot on these videos, the breakout leg, the measuring leg, right? Anytime we see a range breakout, the breakout leg is the measuring leg. Okay, so on the S&P, we talked about how we have that big move higher, it's that two-legged pullback, we have pop and grind channel to find that channel. Boy, wouldn't I love to get a breakout pullback off that nice deep breakout pullback zone. I mean, come on, that would be my favorite trade for tomorrow. One thing you will notice though on the NASDAQ is that this range up here is a little bit higher up relative to where we are right now, right? Everything's relative compared to that high right now. So you'll notice on the S&P, the breakout pullback zone I had was right there. On the NASDAQ, I would really like to get this down around that area right there. Now, if you're a student of mine, this is a big move environment. Go into your trade room materials, the mental warm-ups, and you'll see why I've got that zone as my favorite on the NASDAQ if you're a student of mine in our trade room. So I like that one now as that shallow pullback zone, right? Bear trap and back up from there here. So a small adjustment there on the NASDAQ, but everything else really is almost identical to the S&P here. Let's now talk about that second scenario for tomorrow, which, like I said earlier, it's a bit more complicated, but I think once you see me draw it up here, you're going to see why I really hope for that scenario here tomorrow as well. It's a range, right? It's a range. One very, very common scenario after a big move in one direction, especially with some big tariff talk, everyone waiting on tariff talk for next week here, is a range. Now, the reason why ranges are almost my favorite for tomorrow is because ranges love to rotate. They love to rotate down, up, down, up. And remember, the amount below the range can be projected now above the range, right? Back above, back below. We use things called pendulum swings. We use things called triangles or megaphones. We trade that rotation back and forth. So if you understand that basic principle of a trading range right now, you can probably kind of estimate now what the game plan will be. Now, I have no idea where this range will be. It could be way up here. I don't know. What I do know though is that a range acts like a magnet. And so what happens is once we start seeing that range and things start to flatten out in the moving averages, I'm looking for a breakout going lower. That breakout going lower, I'm warning you right now, that breakout will feel very convincing. Okay, that voice in your head will say, wow, right? That must be a legit breakout. Most of the time, it's not. Sometimes it is. Most of the time, though, it's not. The odds are not very good because ranges act like magnets. Now, if you understand the bear trap and the add-on that we talked about earlier on the S&P, same idea. Get down into get down to support below that trading range. Trap those bears in once, twice. I always like 2 tries here because, again, I want their stops, right? I want their stops. I'm not going to blindly buy down here, right? As we saw today, right? We don't blindly trade levels. We wait for setups. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. At that point now we know where we can squeeze those stops. Now we know where sellers are in pain, and we can buy into those stops. Now remember, failure patterns or bear trap patterns like this turn into now add-ons. What's the key to an add-on? The key to an add-on is that shallow pullback, that higher high in price. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to get that shallow pullback that barely misses the moving average. This one right there, look closely, right? We go up, shallow pullback, higher high, add-ons, right? Add-ons are very, very common in strong trends, or very common in pretty much all environments. Higher high, add-on right below that low. I teach that setup in our free trading classes. Now remember, in a normal pullback, we take our profit targets off at the high. Right? In a normal pullback, in a two-legged pullback, it's back to retest the high. This is why I love ranges so much, because now the amount below the range, the amount of, now you start to see why I love these things so much, right? Now we know where that market is trying to go. So same basic idea here, but now we use rotation to our advantage. Bear trap, add on as we go higher. Let's kick this up one more notch though, all right? Because sometimes what happens is, a lot of times what happens is, after a big move like this, we'll go sideways, and oftentimes what happens is we see a breakout going higher first. Now, after a big move like this, it's quite difficult to, unless something changes, unless we see some great headlines regarding tariffs tomorrow, you know what I mean? So unless something really changes, there's not, the odds of that being a successful breakout are pretty low. I'll talk about how to know if it's a successful breakout in a moment. But most of the time, though, this winds up coming crashing right back down. Now, you know this already now. Now you know how ranges work. The amount above the range, the amount below the range. Now, again, this move lower is going to feel legit, right? This will feel very bearish. But what do we say on these videos? The best entries, they're always scary. So if this pullback makes you uncomfortable, good. You're doing it the right way. Don't lose sight of that hourly time frame, right? This will likely be just a big, big pullback off the high. It's not a reversal, it's a rotation off the high. Once you learn how rotation works, now you're not going to get fooled. Now you're not going to be the victim of a bear trap right here. Now, same thing, right? 1, 2, trap the high, trap the bears, and squeeze back up to retest. Now, keep in mind, the same stuff I mentioned earlier, right? For example, right? Let's say we get a really strong rundown and it's just boing right back up again. The same V-bottom technique, if it pops up and grinds going higher, that same V-bottom technique can be used. Find that low, buy that first test. In fact, these are the easiest ones. These are really easy because now that momentum now is turned in your favor. Okay, these are, there's no guarantees in trading, but that setup right there, when it pops up, starts grind. Remember, grinding moves are an easy giveaway for a lot of strength, right? So in these, again, no guarantees, but that's about as close to a guaranteed win you're going to get if it grinds up like this. That's an easy one. And as always, if we saw a bounce up and another leg going lower, remember, retest trade. Retest trades, if you're with us in a trade each morning, we love retest trades because now anybody who sold on that pullback, right, they're taking their profit where? Right about there. This is a horrible spot to be selling. Great spot for a bear trap. So retest trades, right? It slams down. We may or may not get that bear trap back up again. Sometimes what happens is they'll hold the underbelly of that range, right? Remember, breakout leg, measuring leg, find that measured move down there, breakout leg, measuring leg. I wish I could teach all this stuff in these videos, but come out and join us, the trade room, and we'll do it together, right? It gets pretty easy when you do it with me each day, consistently over a couple of weeks here. So once we take out that low, retest trade, double bottom, retest trade, 1 try, 2 try, trap those bears in, squeeze those stops, add to your winner with the add-on trade I described earlier on in the video. All right, so be aware of that fake out break off the high. Do not fall for that bear trap, that fake out breakout off the high like that. Now, one final question is, what if we did see a range here tomorrow and then some news comes out? How would I know when a breakout should be taken seriously? Well, remember that 21 EMA? What do we always say? Separation equals strength. You see what I'm saying now? Okay, so now we break out and now we start separating off the moving average. Ah, yes, that's the clue, right? That is the easiest clue I know, the most consistent clue I know that tells me, because again, a lot of times what happens is It'll go up, it'll try, and bam, right back down again. But if this thing pulls back, it starts grinding, okay, now you know that's a breakout. Once we know breakouts happen now, okay, now look left, find those prior highs up there, and as always, I'm gonna grab that pullback, ideally somewhere right around that prior high. I will definitely be finding that channel, right? Pop and grind channel, prior high, and these are great trades, right? Get below the moving average, trap those bears in, and squeeze those stops. And then remind me one more time, where is a target on this? The breakout leg is the measuring leg, right? Remind me, breakout leg, measuring leg. Do you see how repetition, the same stuff happens over and over again? Breakout leg, measuring leg. If you want to make more money, hold those winners longer. Add to your winners and hold on to them longer. Measured moves are an easy way to know where that target wants to go and leave that runner make some bank on a Friday morning, early Friday afternoon. Right, guys? That's the roadmap for tomorrow. 2 game plans, deep 2-legged pullbacks, sideways choppy ranges. I'm excited for tomorrow. Now, speaking of tomorrow, the place to be is in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Guys, I can't think of any better way to learn this stuff than to do it with me every morning at the opening bell. As always, I'm going to put all the important links you'll need to learn this whole strategy. I'll put that down in the description of the YouTube video. Start first with the free video classes. Enjoy all those trade examples in there. Then come join me in the trade room and we'll do it together. In the meantime, guys, fantastic week. Make some money for me tomorrow morning. Be well, be nice to each other, and you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.